Edge. All right, these doors are 10 inches tall, so that's marked center at 5 inches, marked 1.5 inches in, which is the edge of the door frame, the edge of the opening. So somewhere along this line I'll put the lock, and I'll measure that by using the latch to see how far I need to space that. Got these from the hardware store. They're key to like. So if I put that right about here, I'll have plenty of room for that latch to go in to the frame. We'll cut a slot. That should work out pretty good. Alright, got marks on both the doors. 5 inches down, centered on the 10-inch tall door. 3/4 inch in from the edge of the opening. And that'll be just about perfect. Alright, a little pilot hole. Got a 1/4 inch. And I'll need to work my way up to a 3/4 inch drill bit, which I don't think I have. I think the biggest bit I have is a 1/2 inch, so I'll need to make a run to the store. But we'll just go one step at a time here. 3/8. Yeah, I'm not sure if the 1/2 inch will go either. It's got a chip missing out of its cutting edge. So we're gonna drop down to 5/16. Alright, there's a 1/2 inch in good condition. One of my Discord bros asked how I was liking the Ryobi, and I love it. This thing works really good. The one thing I don't like is that it came from the store with a bent shaft. I don't know if you could see it on camera, but it's got a little wobble to it. I don't know if that's from shipping or if it was a return that got put back on the shelf and I didn't notice the damage. But yeah, there's a little wobble to the shaft, which is kind of a pain sometimes. But other than that, it works great. I love the the feel of it. It's got a really good ergonomic grip. Everything's real grippy. Chuck works good. I like it. And I love that the batteries have a indicator on them now. They didn't used to. Oops, screwing up the paint. Oh, well, that's fine. Oh yeah, this paint. This paint is nice. It cleans up easy. Stains don't seem to stick to it too well. Greasy hand smudges comes right off. Alright, now I just need a 3/4 inch. Alright, the closest thing to a 3/4 inch drill bit that Harbor Freight had was in this kit, which was 60 bucks. Kind of expensive just to drill one hole, but it does give me 1-inch bit, a whole bunch of other sizes that I don't have. Black oxide should be some pretty good. Should be able to handle quite a few projects. I don't have any nearby, so Harbor Freight's kind of the only option I have for a lot of things. The small Ace Hardware at Wilco did not have anything. The largest they have is a 1/2 inch, and I already have a 1/2 inch. I do not need a 1/2 inch. Keep a nice carry case. And yeah, look at that big old 1-inch. There's a couple times I could have used that. I have a hole saw bit that I usually use, but that'll be nice to have. 3/4 inch is right there, so we need that to drill the lock. Just barely fits in my chuck. Like that. This paint not sticking as bad on this side. Alright, there's 2 holes drilled, ready for some locks. That drill bit did a pretty good job cutting, and it's still pretty sharp. Got 2 of these magnets that come out to about a 1/4 inch. So I'm going to use those to hold the door right where I want it. Give me a 1/4 inch spacing. Alright, I'm going to have to cut right up on that edge. Starting there. Down to about here. All right, that worked out pretty good. Got my 1/4 inch all the way around. All right, got the other side notched out as well. Right to where it gives me a 1/4 inch. Perfect. They also come with these little locking rings which go around the shaped cylinder, key cylinder, and it looks like they're meant to dig into wood. I probably could just put the spikes on the side. They'd probably hold just fine, but that's gonna put I mean, that might work, but I'm just going to clean it real good with some rubbing alcohol and stick it on with some silicone, which can have a pretty good grip so long as it's got a clean surface to stick to. It's just a real pain in the butt to clean up because silicone will not stick to cured silicone, paint will not stick to silicone. So if you ever have to remove this, it's going to be a bit of a scraping job to get that prepped for a resealing. But that should hold good enough to keep the cylinder from spinning. Like, even if this is tight, that could still spin. Just glue that on. I was thinking about making a wooden ring with like a, I don't know, 1.5 to 2 inch hole saw, and then drill out the center 3/4 inch so it just slips over this like a large washer, and I could cinch down into that, and that might get a good grip. But silicone will be quicker, easier. I got a tube ready to go. But that is awesome. Got my little maintenance hatches keyed up and ready for some door seals. Going to be mounting these so that the lock cylinder, when it is locked, is in a straight up and down position with the pins facing downward. That will keep moisture from settling up in there, as well as dirt or grime. So I got me one of these little tubes of clear silicone. Something better would be ultra black or ultra red. I have some ultra red, but it's a brand new tube and I don't want to open it up just for a couple squirts. They don't store very well. Once you open it, the whole thing starts going solid. Kind of seems like no matter what you do. So this stuff stores very well. It's even got a real nice fitting lid on it. On these smaller tubes, they got these nice lids. I mean, I guess I could just put the spikes up against the metal. Yeah, I guess that'll work. I mean, yeah, the spikes aren't going to dig in too well into this hard metal. I don't feel like those are going to grab all that great. But maybe with some pressure on there with the nut. If I felt like getting the welder out, I would just tack those right through these tiny holes. Let's put in the lock. Pin up. Put the spikes down. Yeah, that's grabbing pretty good. Awesome. Okay, so that'll be in its lock position. So I'll put the rotation ring, whatever that's called. I'm sure it has a name for it. The guide. So that'll be locked. Got a locking ring there as well. Screwdriver, and you don't want to cinch it down by using the key pins as a way to hold the screws. So you want to grab the latch, hold onto that latch as you tighten. You're not bending pins or anything. All right, lock position. Key is straight up and down. Pins are on the top. Unlock. Just like that. Sweet. That looks good. Good to see that door finished. Finally, and ready for some seals. Now let's get this side done. I like how well that locking ring works. Wasn't thinking those spikes would dig in too well, but that seems to be quite adequate. These little key kits come with also a different style of guide, one that goes a full 180 degrees, which might be helpful for other situations. These can be kind of tricky to get on since there's two flat unthreaded sides. It can tend to go on at a slant. You gotta make sure you set it on good and straight. Awesome. I was looking forward to getting these doors done. That was good. I even put this little beauty ring that it came with on there. I like it. Yeah, those turned out awesome. I like it. Just needed a little notch and a lock. All right, all the doors are on. Maintenance hatches are key to like. These also, I do believe, are key to like. Keeps a little grease. So that side works. Go ahead and lock the handle. So why not? Hope these are key to like. Yes, awesome. All right, so we got 2 new keys to add to the wad. Freaking awesome! I'm so happy to have that. This is all done. All right, next thing I want to do is take out these sumo springs and put the original bump stops back in. These didn't work as good as I thought they would. I was hoping they'd keep the back end up a little higher, but they squish it down to about right where the bump stops were. So I'm gonna put those back in. These actually don't fit that great. The posts on them barely got the nuts on halfway. So I'm gonna take those out. Alright, got the airbags pumped up, so I got some space to work. Alright, there's one sumo spring. Not as fresh as it used to be, but it's still got some flex to it. And yeah, I'm also going to cut these pads out. sure I could save these for something else. Where did that spacer go? Oh, it fell down. Ugh. Alright, sumo springs and pads have been removed. Let's get these put back on. Got some grade 8 bolts. Okay, these bolts don't quite fit through the frame holes for some reason, so I gotta drill those out to 7/16, just like they are on the bump stops. Yeah. Not sure if washers are necessary, but I'll use them anyway. Oh, big old bumblebee. Alright, that's in there good and solid. The frame over here is like double layered. I mean, there's looks like quadruple layer. There's 4 different sheets of metal. Anyway, there's openings cut in this outer frame, which are a little offset, so I couldn't get the lock washers on this side. So lock washers and nuts are going over here. Alright, bump stops are back in. That makes me very happy. I did not like at all how those sumo spring mounts turned out. So pads are removed, cleaned up the gobs. And yeah, I like that much better. Solid. And yeah, if I really want this up higher, I'll just put some spacers down below these. Probably just get like a piece of pipe and cut it. But I'm not too worried about it anymore. I just didn't like how low this thing sat when the bags were deflated. I would have liked it to sit up a little higher so it would be somewhat drivable. Last time I lost pressure in the airbags, it was nearly dragging the back end. It was crazy low to the ground. Okay, next up, I'm gonna go ahead and remove all this framing for the old floor just because it's real cheaply made, installed. This had just a tiny weld on one side. It was kind of tack welded down here in the corner. I was using that to stand on from time to time, and it broke. The tack weld on the corner did anyway, and this one looks like it's about to go. So I'm just gonna cut all this stuff off. This stuff, that stuff. It'll be real nice to get this stupid bar out of the way. It's just real tight up against this expansion chamber. It's in the way of these bolts. Just, I don't like it. The framing for my bed is going to be laid on top, made out of 1.5-inch steel tube probably. So I'm going to build my own frame for the bed and just get rid of this stuff. Just got a couple tacks on that side. I don't like it. It's also real bent up, I'm guessing from a blowout. Although it's kind of weird that it's bent in that way. I'm gonna keep these, of course, for the back. For the back bumper, these are real solid. I welded those up myself just to finish what they should have done at the factory. So those are on real good. Cut it off there. Cut this off. Cut this off. This is also starting to go. Reinstall bump stops. Boom. Feels so good to wipe these things off my list here. Lots left to do, but yeah, it feels good, even if it's just one little thing at a time. Alright, got all that weak, junky framework removed. All the old welds ground down and cleaned up. There's actually a lot of weird cuts, like they made mistakes at the factory or something like that. Something was welded there at one point and then cut. Same as right here, something was welded right there at one point and then cut off. It's very strange. But yeah, got that all cleaned up, looking great. I like it like this. We'll save these for the rear bumper. Then I'll make some framework for a bed, which can be removed. And then all this open space makes things very easy to work on. Bare metal stuff first here. Probably won't be painting any of this until next year, so let's give it a good coat of primer. Alright, next thing I should probably do is make a spout holder. I think I'll just use these holes, make a mounting plate, get that supported. Got a mounting plate cut, drilled, and prepped for welding. go get me a large hose clamp at some point and put a hose clamp on here, which will give a good secure mount. But zip tie should work just fine for now. It's not like this is a load supporting pipe or anything. It's just the fuel fill. So a couple zip ties might be all it needs, but put a couple hose clamps on here later. It'll be a lot more secure. I don't have to worry about these getting brittle in the sunlight and falling off, but they would these will actually probably be just fine. Yeah, that's awesome. I like having this mounted to the frame rather than the bed. The bed I'll have to put like a notch or some kind of deal for that. Eventually make some kind of a housing as well. Yeah, zip ties might not be the best option, but they will work for quite some time, I'm sure. If I ever, sometime in the future, I'll get some hose clamps, but I'm not too worried about it. Those aren't going anywhere. All right, Old Patches is ready for a flatbed. I'll build that next year. We'll just run a couple square tubes down the middle, some off to the side. We'll frame it out, frame some wheel wells. I'm gonna go ahead and put those plastic ones aside and just build my own built into the flatbed truck bed thing. It'll probably be a truck bed at some point with some raised sides, maybe. I'm not quite sure yet what I'm doing. Flatbed to start, so I can haul some stuff, strap it down. Yeah, that is nice. I like having the back end all cleaned up like that. All right, you guys, stay tuned. We got lots coming up. Thank you for watching.